The Earth remembers everything. Beneath rolling deserts, under miles of ocean, locked inside frozen ice and buried under shattered mountains, lie the remains of worlds that once thrived, civilizations that built, dreamed, worshipped, and ruled before disappearing in moments of unimaginable catastrophe. Not slowly, not peacefully. They vanished in fire, flood, and darkness. Long before recorded history began, humanity may have risen far higher than we ever imagined, only to be erased again and again by disasters so powerful they rewrote the planet itself. Entire cultures swallowed by oceans, cities reduced to ash in a single day, societies that mastered stone, astronomy, and engineering, now known only through fragments, myths, and eerie ruins that should not exist. Ancient texts across the world tell the same terrifying story. A great flood that covered the earth, a sky that burned. A time when the sun disappeared and the seas rose without warning. Civilizations from opposite sides of the planet, with no contact, describing identical apocalyptic events. For centuries, historians dismissed these stories as legends, until modern science began uncovering physical proof. Submerged stone cities off the coasts of India and Japan, melted ruins in the Middle East that show temperatures hotter than nuclear explosions. Geological scars proving massive global floods happened far more recently than once believed. Human structures buried under thousands of years of sediment, yet displaying advanced design that should not exist in prehistoric times. What if our ancestors weren't primitive survivors slowly crawling toward civilization, but the inheritors of multiple lost golden ages destroyed by planetary-scale disasters? What if history didn't begin once, but restarted many times? Each time, humanity rebuilt from near extinction, carrying only faint echoes of the worlds that came before. And what if we are living in just the latest chapter of a repeating cycle? Tonight, we journey through ancient worlds humanity lost forever, cities consumed by oceans, civilizations erased by fire from the sky, cultures that vanished so completely they were nearly forgotten until now. Because the deeper scientists dig into Earth's past, the clearer one terrifying truth becomes. Our planet has reset civilization before, and it may not be finished. But the first clues to this forgotten history would emerge not from legends, but from discoveries no one expected, hidden beneath the very landscapes we walk on today. And what researchers would soon uncover would challenge everything we thought we knew about the origins of civilization itself. The first hints came quietly, almost by accident. Fishermen off the coast of India reported their nets catching on stone structures deep below the waves. Sonar scans revealed massive geometric shapes resting on the ocean floor, straight walls, platforms, stairways, patterns that nature does not create. When underwater archaeologists descended into the murky depths, their lights cut through the darkness and illuminated something impossible. A city. Blocks of carved stone stacked with precision. Roads stretching across the seabed. What appeared to be foundations of temples and harbors, all submerged beneath thousands of years of ocean rise. Radiocarbon dating shocked researchers. Some structures were over 9,000 years old, placing them long before the earliest known civilizations of Mesopotamia and Egypt. But this was only the beginning. Halfway across the world near Japan's Yonaguni Island, divers stumbled upon enormous stone terraces rising like underwater pyramids. Sharp angles, staircases, and massive platforms arranged with mathematical symmetry. Some measured over 100 feet long. While skeptics argued natural erosion, engineers pointed out tool marks, cut corners, and precise alignments that mirrored ancient construction techniques. Then came the deserts. In the Sahara, satellite imagery revealed vast networks of dried riverbeds, proof the region was once lush and green. Beneath the sands lay remnants of massive settlements, stone circles, and lost lakes where thousands once lived. Radar scanning exposed buried structures kilometers wide, suggesting advanced communities that flourished when the desert was a thriving ecosystem. In Turkey, a farmer plowing his field uncovered carved stone pillars rising from the soil. What archaeologists excavated next stunned the world. Göbekli Tepe, a massive ceremonial complex built over 11,000 years ago. Towering T-shaped pillars carved with animals, symbols, and abstract art, created by people supposedly still living as hunter-gatherers. No metal tools, no agriculture, yet construction that would challenge modern builders today. The timeline of civilization shattered overnight, And the deeper scientists dug, the stranger it became. In the Middle East, ruins were found where stone walls had been fused into glass, melted at temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Celsius. In South America, massive stone blocks were cut with such precision that modern machinery would struggle to replicate it. Everywhere researchers looked, the same pattern emerged. Advanced structures appearing far earlier than history allowed, and many of them destroyed violently, not by gradual decay, but by sudden, catastrophic forces. Flood layers covering cities, burn marks across entire regions, sediment showing massive tidal surges that could only come from global-scale disasters. It began to look less like isolated tragedies and more like repeated extinction events, civilizations rising, flourishing, and then vanishing almost overnight. But how could so many cultures across the planet be destroyed in similar ways around the same periods of time? What force could flood continents, melt stone, and erase entire worlds in a geological instant? The answers, scientists would soon realize, were written not only in ruins, but in the very crust of the Earth itself. And what those layers revealed would suggest something far more terrifying than simple natural disasters, something that has struck our planet before and could strike again. As archaeologists uncovered the physical remains of these forgotten worlds, geologists were uncovering something equally disturbing beneath their feet. Deep within Earth's sediment layers, like pages in a planetary history book, scientists began noticing abrupt lines of destruction. Thick bands of debris, ash, and fractured rock appearing simultaneously across continents. These weren't signs of slow climate shifts or regional storms. They were markers of sudden, global catastrophe. One of the most striking discoveries came from ocean core samples drilled from the seafloor. Layers of sand and broken shells were found miles offshore, far from any coastline. Evidence of enormous mega-tsunamis, powerful enough to drag coastal land into the deep ocean. These waves would have been hundreds of feet high, capable of swallowing entire civilizations within minutes. Above those layers were traces of burned material, microscopic spheres of melted rock, and unusual chemical signatures, indicators of extreme heat events far beyond normal wildfires or volcanic eruptions. Some samples showed exposure to temperatures comparable to those generated by nuclear explosions. Then came the craters. Scattered across Earth were massive impact scars, some buried, some eroded, many only recently discovered through satellite imaging. While a few aligned with known extinction events like the one that wiped out the dinosaurs, others dated far more recently, during periods when human civilization may already have existed. One impact in the North Atlantic showed evidence of a massive asteroid fragment crashing into ice sheets, instantly vaporizing water and sending unimaginable volumes of meltwater surging across the planet. This would have triggered global floods, rapid sea level rise, and climate chaos in a geological blink of an eye. Ice cores from Greenland and Antarctica added another chilling piece of the puzzle. Within the frozen layers were sudden spikes in dust, ash, and rare metals that only appear after cosmic impacts or massive atmospheric disturbances. Some layers coincided with abrupt temperature drops, sudden mini ice ages lasting centuries. At the same time, ancient flood myths from Sumer, India, China, the Americas, and the Middle East all pointed to the same era, describing oceans swallowing cities, survivors escaping in boats, and a world nearly erased. For the first time, legend and science were beginning to overlap. Civilizations may not have collapsed slowly through war or famine. They may have been wiped out by forces from the sky. But the most haunting evidence lay in the ruins themselves. At several ancient sites, researchers found unfinished tools, half-built structures, and signs of daily life frozen in time. As if people had fled suddenly, with no warning. In some regions, entire populations vanished from the archaeological record for thousands of years before reappearing again much later, as if humanity had been forced to restart from near extinction. The pattern was undeniable. Around the globe, advanced ancient settlements appeared, and then disappeared, in narrow windows of time marked by planetary disaster. Yet one terrifying question remained unanswered. Were these events random natural accidents, or part of a repeating cycle Earth has followed for millions of years? Because when scientists began studying the timing of these catastrophes, they noticed something deeply unsettling. They seemed to happen with eerie regularity. And if that rhythm was real, It meant something far more frightening than lost civilizations. It meant humanity may be living on borrowed time. At first, mainstream science sought comfort in familiar explanations. Climate shifts, rising sea levels after the last ice age, regional earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. Researchers argued that as glaciers melted, oceans slowly swallowed coastal settlements, forcing early humans inland. Over centuries, storms and erosion would have destroyed what remained. In this view, ancient cities weren't erased in moments of horror. They simply faded beneath creeping water and time. But the evidence refused to stay quiet. The sediment layers showed violent surges, not gradual flooding. Melted stone required temperatures far beyond lava flows. And the near simultaneous destruction of civilizations across continents pointed to something far larger than local disasters. That's when more radical theories entered the conversation. Some scientists proposed the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis, the idea that around 12,000 years ago, Earth was struck by fragments of a massive comet or asteroid swarm. Instead of a single collision, dozens of impacts may have detonated across ice sheets and oceans, unleashing global firestorms, mega tsunamis, and a sudden return to ice age conditions. Entire ecosystems would have collapsed in weeks. Coastlines would have vanished overnight. Advanced human societies, if they existed, would have been obliterated almost instantly. Others looked beyond space. They studied massive volcanic provinces capable of erupting with force strong enough to darken skies for decades, poison oceans, and trigger global famine. Combined with earthquakes and collapsing ice dams, these could have produced the layered devastation seen in geological records. But there were even more controversial ideas, ones many academics hesitated to discuss publicly. Some researchers suggested that Earth passes through periodic cosmic danger zones, regions of space dense with debris pulled loose by shifting gravitational forces. During these times, asteroid bombardment would spike dramatically, resetting life on the planet like a celestial clock. Ancient monuments around the world, aligned to stars, solstices, and celestial cycles, were re-examined with new eyes. Could lost civilizations have known these disasters were coming? Were structures like massive stone platforms and underground chambers built as survival shelters? There were even whispers of solar superstorms so powerful they could ignite continents, boil oceans near coastlines, and collapse global ecosystems in hours. Evidence of sudden massive radiation events preserved in tree rings and ice cores hinted that our sun may be far more dangerous than once believed. Each theory explained part of the puzzle. None explained it all. What remained constant was the scale of destruction, far beyond anything humans have experienced in recorded history. And the terrifying implication that advanced societies may have risen before us, only to be erased so completely that we mistook ourselves for the first. If these cycles were real, then civilization wasn't a steady climb forward. It was a fragile candle repeatedly blown out by cosmic and planetary forces beyond human control. Which led to the most unsettling question of all. If ancient worlds were destroyed by recurring disasters, where are we now in that cycle? Because the same warning signs scientists uncovered in Earth's past may be appearing again, right above our heads. The realization sent shockwaves through the scientific world. If civilizations had risen and fallen long before recorded history, then humanity's story was not a simple journey from primitive survival to modern dominance. It was a series of rebirths after near-total annihilation, each age inheriting a scarred planet, fragments of lost knowledge, and faint memories that would later become myths of gods, floods, and fire from the heavens. History, it seemed, was not a straight line. It was a cycle. Sudden catastrophe followed by silence, populations reduced to a handful of survivors, knowledge erased, cities buried, and slowly, painfully, civilization beginning again. This perspective transformed ancient legends from fantasy into possible eyewitness accounts. The Great Flood of Mesopotamia, the burning skies described in Hindu texts, the Dark Age remembered by Native American oral traditions. Stories once dismissed as symbolism now mirrored geological evidence with haunting accuracy. Even modern science began quietly adjusting timelines. Coastal archaeology expanded into deeper waters. Satellite scans searched deserts for buried cities. Impact craters once thought irrelevant were reanalyzed for human-era dates. And with every discovery came the same chilling implication. We may not be humanity's first great civilization. We may simply be the latest. But the most disturbing consequence wasn't about the past. It was about the future. Asteroid tracking systems now monitor thousands of near-Earth objects, many discovered only days before passing dangerously close to our planet. Ice cores reveal abrupt climate shifts happening far faster than expected. Solar observatories record increasingly violent stellar storms. The same forces that may have erased ancient worlds are still active today. Nothing about Earth's history suggests stability is permanent. Civilization exists in a narrow window of cosmic luck. And that window has closed before. Perhaps multiple times. Some scientists now warn that humanity is entering another period of elevated planetary risk, a convergence of climate volatility, celestial threats, and geological instability. Not a single apocalypse, but a cascade of disasters capable of reshaping the world once again. If that happens, our skyscrapers will crumble, just as stone temples once did. Our digital knowledge may vanish like ancient libraries swallowed by floods, and future beings may one day uncover the remnants of our cities, wondering how such an advanced society disappeared so completely. Just as we now wonder about the lost worlds beneath the sea and sand, the ruins whisper a message across time. Civilization is not guaranteed. Progress is fragile, and Earth has erased humanity's achievements before. The greatest mystery may not be what destroyed ancient worlds, but whether we will recognize the warning signs before history repeats itself once again. Because somewhere beneath the oceans, deserts, and ice lie the graves of civilizations that once believed their world would last forever. And now, the question remains, are we next?